I actually downloaded OBS for this and it actually works on my computer, so maybe I should do another one of how I record my covers so you actually can see what's happening on my computer as well. Yeah. Let's start this video. How to scream. I've been asked to do one of these videos since I did my first cover back in, wow, 2011, 12, 13? 10? I don't remember at what time I uploaded the first video, but it was an Asking Xernia video. And I got mostly good comments, even though I just started screaming, or I had just started learning how to scream. The majority of the comments were about me getting a tattoo the same day and wanted to show it off. YouTube. But today we're gonna talk about screaming, and this video is gonna be more in depth with false chord, or the technique called false chord. You have two major techniques. You got false chord and you got fry screaming. False chord is a lot easier, in my opinion, to learn, and it's a lot easier to go down low with your pitch. You can make a lot darker screams, a lot more muddy and gritty. Fry screaming is a lot more high pitched, or you can go down low as well, but it's easier to do it in high pitch. And the difference between these two, to explain this in an easy way, false chord is when you just breath, and fry screaming is when you lock your vocal cords. And a lot of people, it's really easy to actually make that first sound. You kind of sound like the girl from The Garage. Pretty simple. And then you have to just control how to use your diaphragm the right way and actually push out, so that becomes the actual high-pitched scream. But in this video I want to talk more about false chord, because that's the first technique that I learned and the first technique that I started developing. I slowly got into fry screaming a couple of years later, when I felt that I actually knew how to use the false chord technique without hurting myself. Because when I started screaming, I had my vocal cords torn and I was hurting after every single rehearsal my band had. So I guess this is the way of just teaching people how to not do it the way I did it and mess up your voice. So false chord is, like I said, a breath. It's really easy. Just think of it as a sigh. You just go that does not hurt your vocal cords at all, or it shouldn't, because you're not supposed to make that sound pressured in any way. You're not supposed to do the Cookie Monster, because the Cookie Monster will hurt you. You're supposed to be relaxed in your neck, and you're just supposed to breathe out. Just do it a sigh, a hard sigh. You just go and that sound is what we're gonna learn how to put pressure on and make it sound a lot more harder, a lot more grittier, and a lot more metal. And by adding pressure to that, you need to know where your diaphragm is, because the diaphragm is a muscle right under your rib cage that you can use by just filling your stomach up with air and pushing. And by doing that, you're not supposed to breathe with your lungs at all. You're not supposed to use them when it comes to this. And one thing that I learned really late, that I wish that I knew a lot earlier, was that learn how to breathe with your stomach every day, all the time, and you will stop using this kind of breathing and you will just do it with your stomach, and that will make everything so much easier when it comes to actually doing this. And this does not really only include harsh vocals or screaming. This includes normal singing as well, if you're doing that, because this is your support muscles. These are the muscles that you're supposed to use to actually get the extra power to your vocals. And the easiest way to kind of feel where these muscles are is just to breathe in with your stomach, just push out just a tiny bit air, just go like hey, 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 and you can feel where these muscles are. And that's the muscles we're going to concentrate on using. When you finally started to feel comfortable with these muscles and actually managing to use your diaphragm, you can start to do that sigh again and use the pressure on it. So you go like, just go really light first. So you just go, hey, hey, and then you can start feel where you're supposed to add the airflow. So you just go, hey, 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 without hurting your vocal cords. Because if you feel something that's even close to being in pain, stop. You're doing it wrong. Go back to the start and just do the light sighs. Hey, hey, and then you can push it on. Hey, and push it on. And by doing this, you just have this kind of gritty sound, where you just can actually toy around with going lower, because this technique is easy for doing lows and I guess low mids. And you can go up high if you want as well, so just go. This is so fucking awkward, and I know that it's gonna look so stupid on camera, but here we are. I'm just gonna teach you. The best way to practice this is when you hear yourself better, because if you do it like this, just out of thin air, you can't really hear yourself, and you're gonna apply way too much pressure. You're gonna try to overcompensate because you can't really hear yourself. I've had loads of times, both live and in studio, when I can't hear myself, and it will make me push a bit too hard, and I'll just be kind of torn out, and that's not what's supposed to happen. So I got my studio set up right here, and I'm gonna show you just a tiny bit how I'm gonna do it. One thing I want to cover first though, is I've watched a lot of YouTube videos of people explaining this. I'm having a really hard time actually finding the words to explain this as easy as possible, because when I do this in studio or live, it just comes naturally to me. It's something that just happens because I've been doing it for 10 plus years. And I've been kind of perfecting my techniques over the years, both normal vocals and harsh vocals as well. Oh yeah, before we do anything else, please do your warm-ups. Always do your warm-ups. I do them for about 30 to 45 minutes before I'm going into the studio or doing a show live. I'm doing Melissa Cross' Scent of Screaming. That's the vocal warm-up that I feel suits me the most, and she has a really wide range of going from low vocals to really high vocals, which pitch you're in, which key you're in, and she explains really good what key you're supposed to be in and how you're supposed to feel when you're warming up. I did my warm-ups just before this, and there is no right or wrong warm-up. You can just sing your favorite song quietly for like 3 times in a row, and then you're kind of good to go. So let's start OBS, because I actually got it working. It took me 2 days to get OBS to work on the computer. So just to explain, the reason why I want to record this is some people are feeling that, hey, I don't sound as good as this vocalist or that vocalist. And one thing that beginners that don't work in studios a lot need to know is that both in studio and live, vocalists, guitarists, bass players, everything is mixed. It's always mixed. It's never the raw sound you hear. So you use EQ, you use gain reduction, you use plugins to make distortion or make it more poppy. You know, you actually mix this. So when you just, like I said before, shout out straight into nothing, you're not gonna hear the crisp that you can hear if you listen to song, or if you're going to a live show, or if you watch a live show on YouTube, because everything is mixed. That is something that people don't really talk about that much, that, you know, that perfect sound, you may sound good, but you don't hear it until you actually record it and mix it. And that's where the magic happens. So I'm just gonna give you guys some sort of a walkthrough of what I'm talking about. So this is how I usually record my tracks. Like I said in the first video, I got 2 main tracks. That's gonna be the exact same thing, but one track is a bit lower just because it's not supposed to take over and sound exact same as the first one. It's just supposed to be a bit in the background just to make the first track a bit more fatter. I don't know why I used the word fat, but that's the best way I can explain it. And then we have a pan left and a pan right channel to make everything sound a bit more bigger. So I downloaded this track that's royalty free, so I can use it on YouTube and actually still get paid. This is not my kind of music. This is the only one that I found that I was kind of good. And I'm sorry to the person who made this if you see this. I'm not the one who's supposed to talk down on anyone, but this is what I got to work with. So this is not metalcore, this is kind of metal-ish, I don't know, old school metal, I guess. And we're just gonna record something, and the difference between one track, all the tracks together, and then the actual raw file. And same as always, I'm using my Shure, I'm using my PreSonus sound card into Logic, and that's it. So let's start recording. This is still so awkward. The song sounds something like this. Kind of like Parker Drive's new album. So I just want to start off with just saying something like "Hey." That's pretty easy. And we'll do the second track of that one. And then we're gonna add the left pad. And then the right pad. Let's just listen to that all together. And just mute the music so you can listen to it. That sounds pretty fucking dope. This is not mixed in any detailed way, it's just what it is. You can see it's just like a couple of easy plugins. Oh wait, I actually forgot to add the Butch one to these ones, sorry. Still kind of sounds the same, but still. So, here's what I want to show you guys, because we can mute these ones and just listen to the actual first track by itself. This sounds pretty cool, right? Let's kill all the plugins. And all of a sudden it doesn't really sound as good. And this is just the thing I want to demonstrate, so people can understand. Oh shit, I got a text. So people can understand why they might feel that shit, I don't sound as good as this or that. If you have a home studio, you got all these plugins and everything, and you actually can listen to yourself while you scream, that's so much better. If you have a PA in your rehearsal studio, make sure that you don't just do this in an empty room with nothing that can work as a monitor. If you got in-ear monitors, that's the perfect way to do it. You have crystal clear sound, or just a normal floor monitor, or just monitors on your computer. Something that can make you hear yourself. It's gonna strain you a lot more if you don't hear yourself and just, like I said, do it out of thin air. Practice the breath. Start out with that. One step higher each day, and just try to add pressure each day until you actually get that kind of gritty sound, that hard sound, that actually scream sound. When I started touring a lot, I started adding fry screaming to my technique as a way to kind of spare my vocal cords a bit. Since you're kind of locking them, you're not going to tear them as much. And playing, 30 straight shows each and every day is gonna be tiring. And me, myself, being a alcohol lover and drinking a lot of tour, you get it for free, you drink it. I sometimes don't take care of my vocal cords, and that's something that I'm gonna try to be better at. We'll see. Do your practices, stay hydrated, do your warm-ups, because that's actually the most important part of all of this. So we'll see if this video is working out. I don't know, I feel so awkward doing this. I hate screaming in front of people, except if I'm on the stage. So this is so weird to me, just screaming into a camera. But yeah, cool. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.